Welcome to another new book releases video. These are covering the books coming out on the week of March 17th, and this one is more sci-fi heavy than we've seen in a few weeks, so I'm very excited for that one. I'm Morgan. If this is your first time here, I'm going to have timestamps between each genre we talk about, so you can feel free to click to whichever one is your favorite. This week, I'm going to start with the one that I am so excited for, and that is our YA. This is going to be the fifth book in the Hunger Games series and the second prequel novel, Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. I almost missaid that. When you've been set up to lose everything you love, what's there left to fight for? As the day dawns on the 50th annual Hunger Games, fear grips the districts of Panem. This year, in honor of the Quarter Quell, twice as many tributes will be taken from their homes. Back in District 12, Hamish Abernathy is trying not to think too hard about his chances, as all he cares about is making it through the day and being with the girl he loves. When Hamish's name is called, he can feel his dreams start to break. I need to temper my excitement possibly, but I don't think this is going to be another Ballad of Songbird and Snakes. We move into sci-fis next, and tell me if you can sense a theme with some of them. First up is Splinter Effect by Andrew Luddington. Smithsonian archaeologist Rabbit Ward travels through time on sponsored expeditions to the past to secure precious artifacts moments before they are lost to history. Although exceptional at his job, Rabbit is not without his faults. In a spectacular failure 20 years ago, he lost both the menorah of the Second Temple and his hot-headed mentee, Aaron. So, when the new evidence reveals the menorah's reappearance in 6th century Constantinople, Rabbit seizes the chance for redemption. But from the moment he arrives in the past, things start to go wrong. Rabbit quickly finds out that his prime competition, an unlicensed and annoyingly appealing stringer named Helen, is also in Constantinople hunting for the menorah. This is supposed to be a first in a series, too. I think the series name is Splinter Effect. Then we have The Third Rule of Time Travel by Philip Fracassi. Rule 1. You can only travel to a point within your lifetime. Rule 2. You can only travel for 90 seconds. Rule 3. You can only observe. These rules cannot be broken. Scientist Beth Darlow has discovered the unimaginable. She's built a machine that allows human consciousness to travel through time to any point in the traveler's lifetime and relive moments of their life. An impossible breakthrough, but it's not perfect. The traveler has no way to interact with the past. They can only observe. After Beth's husband Coulson, the co-creator of the machine, dies in a tragic car accident, Beth is left to raise Isabella, their only daughter, and continue the work they started. Mired in grief and threatened by her ruthless CEO, Beth pushes herself to the limit to prove the value of her technology. This story has a great premise, and I want to see how other people receive it. The main character to me, though, was annoying. Our next book is Murder by Memory by Olivia Waite. The mind is a terrible thing to erase. Welcome to the HMS Fairweather, Her Majesty's most luxurious interstellar passenger liner. Room and board are included, new bodies are graciously provided upon request, and should you desire a rest between lifetimes, your mind shall be most carefully preserved in a glass in the library, shielded from every danger. Near the topmost deck of an interstellar generation ship, Dorothy Gentleman wakes up in a body that isn't hers, just as someone else is found murdered. As one of the ship's detectives, Dorothy usually delights in unraveling the schemes on board the Fairweather, but when she finds out that someone is not only killing bodies but purposefully deleting minds from the library, she realizes something even more sinister is afoot. This is also, I do believe, supposed to be the first in a series, but it is a novella? Or very short book. It's less than 200 pages if I'm remembering the page count right. From here we are transitioning into romance with the fourth book in the Dream Harbor series, but every book is possible to read as a standalone, so technically you could start with any of them or read just the one. This one is called The Strawberry Patch Pancake House by Laurie Gilmore. All of them sound like cozy and foodie and As a world-renowned chef, single dad Archer never planned on moving to a small town, let alone running a pancake restaurant. But Dream Harbor needs a new chef, and Archer needs a community to help raise his daughter Olive. Iris has never managed to hold down a job for more than a few months, so when it's suggested that Archer is looking for a live-in nanny, she almost runs in the opposite direction. Now, Iris finds herself in a whole new world, one where her gorgeous new boss lives right across the hall and likes to cook topless. Keeping everything strictly professional should be easy, right? So We have the single dad tropes. If anybody has read any of these, let me know how it went, because I remember seeing I think it was the first book, right? The pumpkin spice one last fall, blowing up. Then in Romantasy, we have a sequel book, yes. What Hunts Inside the Shadows by Harper L. Woods is the second in the Of Flesh and Bone series. This is getting its trad release through Bramble, because the first 3 books I think are on KU, and now they're getting published with updated covers, updated things, I'm not sure. From the first book that was What Lies Beyond the Veil, once we worshipped them as gods. For nearly 400 years, the veil has protected us from the Fae of Alphamere. In their absence, our lives have shifted from decadence and sin to survival and virtue under the guidance of the new gods. I've spent my entire life tending to the gardens next to the boundary between our worlds, drawn to the shimmering magic like a moth to the flame. All of that changes the day the veil shatters, unleashing the Fae upon our world once again. The magic of fairy marks those of us they mean to take, but the Mistguard protecting Northic will kill us all before they let the Fae have us. There's no choice but to flee everything I've ever known, not if I want to live to see my 21st birthday as a free woman. So this deals with Fae and fated mates, and I think it's multi-perspective between her and her Fae warrior. Next would be our thriller of the week, The Writer by James Patterson and J.D. Barker. NYPD Detective Declan Shaw gets a call. How fast can you get to the Beresford building on Central Park West? In the tower apartment, Shaw finds a woman waiting for him. She's covered in blood. A body is lying dead on the floor of the luxurious living room. Every book in the apartment's floor-to-ceiling shelves is by the same author, best-selling true crime writer Denise Morrow. Is this you? Shaw asked the woman. Are you a writer? Only one person knows the ending to this story. Is it the victim or the killer? I don't know if it's a good thing that she has so many copies of her own books in her house if she's a best-selling author, or it's a narcissistic thing that you only have your own books there. In horror this week, we have The Buffalo Hunter by Stephen Graham Jones. That could have been a copy and paste error, but I'm really not sure right now because I don't have a copy of the cover to reference next to it. In 2012, academic Essie Bucharn learns of the discovery of a 1912 manuscript hidden in the wall of a Montana parsonage written by her great-great-great-grandfather Arthur. Within lies Arthur's transcript of the personal history told to him during confession by Goodstab, a Blackfeet warrior. Decades earlier, Goodstab was bitten by a being he refers to as the Catman, a caged and feral creature transported by an ill-fated expedition of white settlers. The bite endows Goodstab with supernatural powers of healing and regeneration, but also a voracious thirst for blood, which he slakes by preying on the white hunters ravaging the frontier through their proliferate slaughter of buffalo herds. I said that word for sure. So maybe Hunter is right, because he's hunting the hunters of the buffalo. In fiction this week, we have a historical fiction called The Story She Left Behind by Patty Callahan Henry. In 1927, 8-year-old Clara Harrington's magical childhood shatters when her mother, renowned author Bronwyn Newcastle Fordham, disappears off the coast of Southern California. Bronwyn stunned the world with a book written in an invented language that became a national sensation when she was just 12 years old. Her departure leaves behind not only a devoted husband and heartbroken daughter, but also the hope of ever translating the sequel to her landmark work. By 1952, Clara is an illustrator raising her own daughter, Winnie, when a stranger named Charlie Jameson contacts her from London, claiming to have discovered a handwritten dictionary of her mother's lost language. Clara is skeptical. Compelled by the tragedy of her mother's vanishing, she crosses the Atlantic with Winnie, only to arrive during one of London's most deadly natural disasters, the Great Smog. And Winnie is asthmatic, so there's a health issue, and they must go to a countryside retreat with Charles. Somehow there's also supposed to be a romantic element there. I don't know. Finally, we have nonfiction this week. Everything is Tuberculosis, The History and Persistence of Our Deadliest Infection by John Green. In 2019, John Green met Henry, a young tuberculosis patient at Laka Government Hospital in Sierra Leone while traveling with Partners in Health. John became fast friends with Henry, a boy with spindly legs and a big goofy smile. In Everything is Tuberculosis, John tells Henry's story, woven through with scientific and social histories of how tuberculosis has shaped our world and how our choices will shape the future of tuberculosis. So it's part science, part social commentary, history of the medical illness, and while that's all the books on my list for this week, if you know of any other ones coming out, feel free to drop them in the comments down below. Which book are you most looking forward to? Myself, I am eagerly watching the tracking number on my pre-order. I hope you're finding something great to read today, and I'll see you in the next one.